State Representative Chris Flanagan stopped by the studio this week to talk with our news director, Mitch and give a legislative update for the 1st Barnstable District.
As of last Friday, I came off the board. We had, the town of Dennis had its municipal elections. I was dual-hatted only because I didn't want the town to have to undergo a special election to fill my select board seat. I didn't want them to have to bear the expense or the logistics of having a special election. And so I'm a state representative for the 1st Barnstable District, which encompasses the towns of Dennis, Brewster, and most of Yarmouth, with the exceptions of West Yarmouth precincts 5 and 6.
Okay. And what have you been up to so far this year for the towns of Dennis and most of Yarmouth?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I feel like I've only been in the role for about 4 months now, but I feel like I've really hit the ground running. So a few things. One that comes to mind most recently, as you may know, the DY School District had its ribbon cutting for the new middle school, which was a fantastic event. And we invited myself and Senator Sear and Rep. Kip Diggs invited the MSBA, the Mass School Building Authority director, to join us after the ribbon cutting to the Marguerite E. Small Elementary School in Yarmouth. And we did that because that school in particular, although they provide phenomenal instruction, for that school in particular, it's got a diversity of needs. It's very diverse from a socioeconomic perspective, and really the school itself is in deplorable shape. And so we brought the MSBA director, Mr. McCarthy, to tour the school to kind of show him why it's in such need of replacement. And it's actually taken us, when I say us, I mean the school district and state representatives, about almost 11 years to get to this point. It's been, the request has been out there since 2009. As you may know, several Yarmouth residents were victims of a company called Solar Wolf, which was a state-run program that partnered with the town of Yarmouth to undergo what was called Solarize Yarmouth. And that company took people's money and then filed for bankruptcy. So I've been working with the Department of Energy and Environmental Affairs to help these victims in Yarmouth actually get solar panels the way they were promised. And then a few other things. Wastewater is a big issue, particularly in Dennis and Yarmouth. I'm very proud of the town of Yarmouth for going for the major borrowing in its passage at the Yarmouth town meeting a few weeks ago. And I know that not only is it going to have long-lasting impacts for the district in terms of environmental protection and also housing development, but in addition to that, what's going to be critical is getting as much funding both from the federal and state levels of government. And so that's really top of mind, not just for myself, but all the legislators in the Cape delegation. I serve on the Labor and Workforce Development Committee, and so we really focused on funding workforce development programs, particularly because our economy, particularly through COVID, and now that we're kind of in a post-COVID world, our economy is still fragile. And so I think we're trying to be as proactive as humanly possible to create and incentivize and help businesses, particularly small businesses, with their own workforce efforts, so that if depending on what happens with the economy, both at the Commonwealth level and certainly nationwide, we're really focused on making sure that people have jobs and access to employment, and that we're a partner to small businesses.
Another kind of off the cuff question here. I noted we were at the legislative breakfast last week in Yarmouth at Red Jacket.
It was great to see you there.
One thing that I noticed that's I feel like might be, I don't know if it's just the Cape or not, but like the Cape Cod delegate, even being on from different sides of the aisle, seems like a really tight group. I feel like that's not common everywhere, and that's something that's really working in favor of the Cape and Islands.
So I'm so glad that you raised this as a point, and for giving me the opportunity to chat about this, especially as the newest addition to the Cape delegation. I have to tell you, every single one of my colleagues has been unbelievably supportive of me and available if I have questions. And I think it's true when I've heard folks say in the past, and now that I'm on the other side of it, I can definitely attest that it is true that for Cape Cod, there's no Republicans and Democrats in the delegation. It's really we belong to the Cape Party, and so many of our issues are similar. And I think that, for us to be able to advocate for resources and to deliver them back to our region, we're able to do that in an effective way because we work together. And I wish that we could see that more nationally, right? But certainly it's very bipartisan. Steve Zaros, the rep from the 5th Barnstable District, he was right there when I actually first came into the building when I was sworn in. He was standing right outside and welcomed me. And then David Vieira, a state representative, I want to say from the 3rd Barnstable District, both of whom are Republicans, he actually took me out to lunch after swearing-in day. So I say all that to say that there's a real camaraderie, and it's very real. And certainly our state senator Julian Sear has been a great partner. We work very closely together. And then Leader Peak from Provincetown, she has been just a wealth of information and a great resource, particularly for me on the House side. So,
Representative Flanagan, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. Is there anything else you want to say to your constituents?
Well, Mitch, first of all, thank you so much for having me on today. I'm a huge supporter of Cape Media and love the work that you all do. And really just a thank you to the towns of Dennis and Yarmouth and Brewster for electing me. I've tried to hit the ground running and have loved every moment of it, and I'm really just grateful to have the opportunity to serve. So thank you very much again for the opportunity, Mitch, and it's great to be here with you.